Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to Whale Island. In the last episode, after vanquishing our very first Bergina, the island gifted us with our first wing. Unfortunately, Anara only has one to her name, so she isn't actually able to use them for flight, but her presence alone has unlocked the wings in our mutation menu, so I think today, as long as she can find herself a suitable partner, we should be able to experience the gifts of the skies ourselves. It's very likely that she's going to kick off our first migration as well. Being one of our birds, I'd imagine she is quite eager to move on from Whale Island. Maybe go somewhere where we can really put those wings to the test. Somewhere where our tribe can finally stretch their legs again. Maybe we can even go somewhere with an abundance of water, because I'm sure our mermaids would really appreciate that. They never have gotten the chance to experience water themselves, so it would be just as important to them as the skies are to our birds. Now, Vankir is quite likely to start a little migration of his own. While he has no true interest in the winged creatures, because I'm not sure that they would be able to help him with his harvests, he kind of feels like Whale Island has failed him in a way, since he hasn't been able to call any new troops to his side. So we'll have him start making his way toward the ports as well, leading his entire family in his shadow. They are going to make for quite the imposing presence, being some of our few creatures with the scorpion tails. But more than that, most of our tribe in the north has never gotten the chance to interact with Vankir before, and we already know that he can be a pretty merciless creature. So I guess we'll bring him all the way up to the edge of the ports. Since he is kind of leading his family right now, he might as well be one of the very first to plant his feet down in those flowers. We have Echo, who's currently watching after his last baby. He'll have to see if he can teach him some of the songs of the mermaids before they end up leaving. I think Echo himself will probably stay here. He is getting very old, so he knows that role would be better passed on to the youngest of their tribe mates, and he hopes that little Magnus will be able to make him proud, where Quirk unfortunately couldn't because of his disinterest in the mermaid's ways. I suppose Marco could go too. I'm sure he would be quite interested to catch up with his trickster brother, but aside from that, I wonder if he might even have eyes for our little bird creature too. They do line up quite well in immunity genes, so there is a possibility they could start a healthy family. Though there are also other males who will be joining us, who would be in the same boat. So we'll just have to see which one of them catches her interest first. She is a very fickle bird after all. She always seems to be on the move, so they would have to chase her down far and wide if they wanted to give it a shot. Now I feel as though Razra and Eclipse should probably stay here as well. Eclipse has lived his entire life right under this tree, just tending to the health and well-being of Poseidon, our whale. So it would make sense for his family to carry on that tradition, and since we are about to start a little brood between him and Razra, we'll let them get started right now. I think we should probably put the Crackerjaw into her first slot, because I'm hoping we can keep that on their babies. Eclipse has it in both of his, so we know he's going to pass that down to his babies no matter what. It's just a matter of overriding that pesky derp snout. It looks like she has quite a bit of hemophilia too, which is quite ironic considering what a warrior she is. We should probably work on their eyesight instead though, because we don't want their babies having trouble seeing the danger around them. We might even try placing the nimble fingers into his second slot. That way, just like Vankir's family, if they don't have the Crackerjaw, they should still be able to pick up those acorns. So hopefully the fertility won't get in the way. Hopefully we'll be able to see just one of their babies before we leave. Lee is another creature who I'm sure is quite eager to stay here on Whale Island. He has so many little bunny friends to manage, so many to look after, and that's all well and good too, because he might have to protect them from some of our hunters. If Kiki decides to stay, we know that she's going to be scooping up every last bunny she can get her paws on. Freckles and Mango are going to stay here too, as we decided before. I suppose we could even have him try to take over the stump. I mean, it's not like Vankir's around here to see, and that'll at least connect the territories, so we'll be able to move our creatures in the back over to those ports with more ease. Now, there's no new dangers, right? We do want to make sure we're not leaving our creatures to the dangers of Whale Island, but it looks like everything is okay so far. Oh, and Dasher, you grew your last gem? Oh my goodness, he looks so striking with that giant tail. Yeah, he is going to make quite the impression on our new island too. Serena will be right by his side, of course. I think he's hoping to maybe start a little kingdom of his own. He really seemed to enjoy standing high atop that throne until Barbas pushed him away. So maybe Serena and Dasher can find a safe place to set up camp, far away from the influence of the mermaids. I suppose it's a bit ironic since Serena does come from the mermaids family, but she doesn't exactly share their views. Now, Hockey, you can scoop up your last little mole. We'll have you join us too. I bet he is really looking forward to just finding more moles to hunt. They can't be the easiest creature to track down on the whale. That means that Tiki will be waving some of his final goodbyes to his family. We'll bring him up here so he'll be able to see them drift away on the horizon as they scoot past all of that tall grass. Now Freckles can get to picking up her acorns, and I wonder if Aurora might like to help her out. She would actually be pretty good at bunny hunting too, so she can help all of these creatures keep their berries under control. Oh, and look at you, Mango, king of the mountain now. If only you could pick those poison berries for us. But you're not quite the same little trickster that Quirk is, so I'd hate to see you get injured. Though if any of our purr-snout creatures are going to stay behind, maybe they could lend you a paw? Kiki has her hands full with the bunnies right now, but I suppose Cole could always make his way over here if he wanted to explore this island a bit more. I think he is rather reluctant to leave, since he only knows the northern portion of the whale. Maybe he wants to see this entire thing before he migrates himself. So we'll bring him over here to meet some of his more distant tribe mates. And maybe he could aid you, Mango, in your effort to feed your family even more. Nebula and Akira better catch up to their families as well. It looks like they're just about ready to settle down on those ports. I know a lot of creatures would recognize Quirk as part of their family. I wonder what Vankir would think of that. He considers him to be of a royal blood after all, though Vankir himself never had a reason to get to know the purr-snouts. It's not as if the poison berries are going to harm him, because he actually has the poison tail. So creatures who need to rely on the magic of the purrs would be considered imposters instead. But Inara, you can flutter straight over to the front of the ports, because I know you're going to want to lead this charge. And Marco naturally is going to slink in right behind you. So maybe you two can get to know each other a little bit better, while you wait for everyone else to fill up the ports as well. We might bring Vankir over to this side, because he wouldn't want to be outdone. But before Kuvan settles down on the ports, we want him to meet his new family. Oh, we'll have to change little Sirius's gems over to the golden ones as well, especially since he does have the purse now. And then maybe his mother Perry can teach him how to hunt down these bunnies. It'll be a very important thing for him to learn after all. We'll need lots of able hunters to keep our food supplies strong. So Kuvan, now you can peck your way over here and come meet your very first baby. The family has finally been reunited, and pretty soon they'll be taking up 3 of those spaces as well. Now maybe Echo can sit high atop his throne again, so we can move little Magnus out of the nest. We'll change his gem over to the blue of the mermaids, of course, and then he can listen to his father sing his songs. So now hopefully someone will be able to carry on that tradition, though little does he know Barbas is quite close behind. I suppose hearing those songs would be enough to draw him closer. Those familiar songs that his family knows so well. Barbas did try his hand at singing, though he was never really successful, so hopefully he'll have more time to practice at our new home. Now Ducky, with his love for roots, is going to want to stay very, very close to Kuvan. Maybe they could even make a good team together. He could sniff out the roots with his big nose, while Kuvan follows behind to scoop them up with his beak. But as we pick up some of the very last of our stinky fruits for the bunnies, of course, we should be ready to skip the day. So let's go over to Reisra to see if her baby is hopefully going to have some way to pick up the acorns. Oh, it looks like she doesn't have the nimble fingers either, though she does still have the digging paw. And she also has quite the interesting mask. Well, I'm actually very surprised to see that one. I was hoping to place the mask into Nebula's mutation menu. I thought since the Tricksters are so strong in Quirk's line, it would make sense if they start to develop those striking features. So we'll go ahead and plop the mask into both of their mutation menus, and we'll see as long as their family is allowed to grow, as long as Vankir doesn't notice that he has been tricked. We'll see if one of their babies is born with a mask too. But as for you, little one, let's go take a look at your model. Oh, that mask is actually really cool. She almost looks like she's been covering herself in mud or dirt, which probably has something to do with that digging paw. So I guess she just throws herself 100% into her work. So the next name on my list is Kit. Welcome to our tribe, little one. And I'm sure you'll have a great time here collecting plenty of roots for your family. So we just have a few more creatures back here to move to the ports. Hawkeye, of course, and Barbas too, and Dasher and Serena, who are bringing up the rear. If we move Hawkeye all the way over here, then we might be able to still scoot Dasher and Serena to the ports. With those two running legs, they can go pretty far. As Akira takes on his final gem, we can have him scoot his way next to his mother, to keep her company on the journey too. Oh, and it looks like we have a little bunny to scoop up for your mission, so at least Magnus will be nice and full for the journey as well. Now, with Barbas still coming up behind them, I wonder if this would be a good moment for Echo to essentially pass his son to Barbas's care. He is the most grand of mermaids after all, so if anybody can teach his son the ways of the mermaids, I think Echo would definitely put Barbas on the top of the list. So hopefully you two can make your way to the ports as well. And now we're down to our final two places. Okay, so it looks like we might have to break up our family here after all. Oh no, poor Perry and Kuvan. I mean, technically the safest thing to do would be to breed these two, so we can still take another baby between them to the next island. We want to take Sirius because he has that stinky tail, and that might actually be quite useful for Vankir's family. If we go somewhere with the swamplands, they'll need somebody to help keep them safe from all of those pesky bugs. Oh my gosh, wait, we have another port right here? Oh, I almost completely missed that. Okay, false alarm, Periwinkle. We do have a one extra space for your mate after all. Yeah, I thought it would be easy for us to figure out who we would take to the next island, since there are so many ports to work with. But it was actually surprisingly difficult to leave all these creatures behind. I mean, I've gotten so attached to these little guys now. All of them have their own unique stories to follow. And it'll be very sad to leave our old friend Poseidon, but we have plenty of new adventures in store for us. And if it means getting us those legendary wings, then I am more than ready to set sail. So with the last of our food collected, we'll have Kiki stand on the stump so she can wave a goodbye to her sister. And we'll get ready to ship our creatures off with the help of Inara. So if everything is still the same, we should actually be able to choose which island we want to go to next. Now, I'm thinking that the Grass Mingle might be the best place to start with. I'm pretty sure this one gives us a good selection of different biomes, so we'd have a lot of new places to play around in, plenty of new trees for us to discover, and plenty of new places for our winged creatures to really test out the capabilities of flight for our tribe. So where have you guys found yourselves now? Oh, look at this place! There are so many different biomes here. We even have a tiny little jungle over on this side of the island. There are quite a few itty-bitty little swamplands scattered about the place too. So I guess that's pretty good for you and your troops, Vankir. You should be able to find yourself some good berry bushes to settle down by, and maybe even some new faces to introduce to your family. I love how there's even a tiny little swampland right off the ports, as if Vankir picked this island for that very reason. And it looks like our tricksters are even alive and well here. There are quite a few little treasures waiting for us in the ocean. Oh, this is perfect. Our bandit brothers must really be watching after Quirk then. I suppose we should have you start making your way into the water. That way you can scoop up those extra shells for us. Vankir has the cracker jaw too, so I know that would impress him. It looks like poor Perry got herself separated with her family. Well, that's strange. They flipped you guys on opposite ends of the island. Well, we'll want to bring you way over here, so you should be able to find a safe place to set up your nest. Maybe not right in the heart of the swamplands. I feel like she would want to be a bit further away. Now I'm rather leery to have our creatures set up right underneath the coconut tree. I'm not sure if you guys have seen these things in action yet, but when those coconuts fall down on the spaces around them, it does actually daze our creatures. It causes them to lose a little bit of their lifespan, and also their entire turn. So do you think the crabbits might have built this nest? It is awfully suspicious that our very first crabbit is sitting right next to it, considering that it is so dangerous. So let's see if Sirius and Kuvan can carve a safer pathway. Oh no, we already have leeches? Who on earth picked one of those up? Oh, was it actually you, Sirius? Oh my gosh, it was just waiting for you in the tide pools? Okay, this island is a little bit more dangerous than I expected. We'll have Periwinkle come over here, right next to the berry bushes, and maybe that will be a safer place for her to have her baby. I feel like any connection to the tricksters is really going to put her on edge. Since she was tricked so many times by her brother, that's not something she wants to involve herself in anymore. She's not going to let herself get tricked by any sneaky little crabbits. Now, Vankir, let's see if we can find a good swamplands to send your family off to. I guess we could go toward this one. It is awfully far away, but he's just after those poison berries. Quirk has even started carving a pathway for you guys. So, since you do still trust him at the moment, you might as well start following in its footsteps. We'll wait for Nebula to have her next baby until they find a good place to settle down. Well, then again, we did just find a permanent nest over here, so I suppose we'll have to take that as a sign. I do see that leech eyeing them up, however, and we don't want Vankir to get too injured. He is getting rather close to the end of his lifespan anyway. We need to find him a suitable partner too. Now I know that Barbas would want to stay by the ocean. Oh, this is going to be his first chance to dive into the water and hopefully gobble up those water-breathing plants, so we can really look for some good shells to bring back to the tribe. But I'll bet Anara has really been captured by his striking appearance. Well, with that bright red fur of his, he probably reminds her of all of the birds of her homelands. He might not have the wings, but those vivid colors alone have her very, very intrigued. So as much as this is going to break Marco's heart, I think she's going to start her very first family with Barbas. And let me guess, Vankir, that was probably you? Yep, it looks like he has a leech after all. So somebody is going to have to take care of that for him on the next turn. But right now we have more important things to manage, like the wings in our mutation menu. So luckily, Barbas is quite healthy. We don't really have to worry about anything else in his mutation menu. We'll just fill it up with the wings and cross our fingers that it's enough to give us flying babies. Anara, on the other hand, should probably focus on her eyesight. Our birds will have to be able to see pretty well after all, if we do want them to go soaring through the clouds. Now go ahead and breed with Anara, and then we'll have to move her away from those pesky coconut trees. I guess we could try to have her make her way around these rocks. Maybe if she can scoot over to the savannas, that might be a good place for them to set up camp. We'll leave you right here for now to pick up those coconuts. Oh wait, Jess! She's still under the tree! Oh my goodness! Oh, I think it's because she was in the water. I just completely ignored that this is right next to the palm tree after all. Well, hopefully the ocean will be enough to protect her from the wrath of the coconuts. I guess we might get our first experience with those on the next turn. Well, maybe Marco will be able to help you out. We'll want him to stay close by in case he needs to purr. That way she shouldn't take too much damage. We'll have Magnus follow very close behind his new mentor. And Hawkeye is going to go straight out looking for moles to pounce on. So far, I don't see any in this grass. We probably want to bring him up toward the larger grasslands. He knows best where to find his moles after all. He is a mole hunting expert. Now, do we have any little roots that you could dig up for us? Oh my goodness! There's even more crabbits over here. Oh, I don't know if you guys are going in the right direction then. Hopefully that won't spell disaster for Anara. Can't you just see these little crabbits knocking on the base of the tree with their big claws? Trying to send the acorns down on the heads of our tribe mates so they can't steal their precious shells. Well, you don't have to worry too much about Anara. She doesn't exactly have a way to pick those up on you, so maybe they'll be nice and leave her alone. Now, Dasher and Serena, they're going to want to steer clear of Barbas so he doesn't interfere with their plans. So let's have them make their way down the shore instead. Oh, and it looks like they uncovered one of those water-breathing plants. Excellent. So maybe you guys can do a little bit of diving if you're interested. For now, we'll have them make their way over to the stream, searching for a stump to call their very own, of course. But it is a big island, so they could have a long ways to go. Now let's cross our fingers that I didn't just doom poor little Anara to the coconuts. So far, so good. Oh my goodness! Did it just hit the crabbit instead? Oh, that is so funny! The crabbit's plans have backfired, and instead of hitting the heads of our tribe mates, it seems to have caused them a little bit of pain instead. I did hear poor Vankier get hurt, though. Oh, and was your brother just reborn in our tribe? He looks so similar to Eclipse, though he has quite a few more spots, it would seem, and double nimble fingers. But even more interesting is the fact that he might just be another one of our tricksters. It looks like his father's influence has rubbed off on him, so he's yet another creature who's going to have to try his best to hide that from Vankier. Though since he's just a little baby, I wonder if he's going to find that to be more trouble than his father. He wouldn't know any better after all. He would think that he can pick those poison berries just like the rest of his family. Well, the next name on my list is Pika, so welcome to our tribe, little one. And we'll see what becomes of your role in Vankier's troops. Let's go ahead and pick that leech right off of Vankier, and lick his wounds too before we forget. Oh my goodness, did he just pick up another one? Oh, it's you guys back here. Oh, the leeches are absolutely everywhere. Well, we managed to save Anara at least, but we're going to have to send you guys straight into the ocean as soon as possible. Okay, this may have been a bad direction for us to take after all. Let's scoot Anara back to the shore, so she can jump straight over here with Perry. as the two boys battle the leeches together. So despite Marco's resentment toward Barbas, it seems like he's going to have to work with him now if he wants to make sure that Anara is kept safe. Regardless of who she chose, that's going to be Marco's #1 priority. He cares about her too much to see any harm befall her. Now I guess we'll have Periwinkle scoot her way over here, so she at least can settle down her nest, right between all of these lovely full berry bushes. Yeah, we'll have to get your family over here too, so you guys can help her collect all of that delicious food. Oh my goodness! The leeches! Oh no, Barbas. The moment that Marco went over to protect your mate, it seems as though you may have caught another leech's attention instead. Yeah, this was one side effect of the ocean that our mermaids were not prepared for. They didn't realize that the ocean was quite so dangerous, I guess. Well, that just means they'll have to make sure that they always go with a buddy. It's better that they figure this out now after all, and not when they're sitting in some of the deepest portions of the ocean. Oh my gosh, and Ducky? You managed to find a stump for us? Oh, Dasher is going to be so jealous. It was just barely out of his reach. And now this place is about to be colonized by our mermaids. So I don't think this is the stump that you were looking for. You're going to have to find a location that's a little more secluded. So the search continues. Maybe you two could even make your way across the stream, and we'll see if there's anything special waiting for you two if you follow the waterfall up to its source. I actually love how massive this island is, because we could really carve out some special places for each of our families. They'll be so far away from each other that it'll be like they're creating their own little societies, with rules and customs that are unique to their founders. And I guess Hockey is going to hitch a ride with you guys for now, as you make your way into some of these tiny little swamplands, right next to the trees too, our good old oak trees. So at least we know you have some sort of food to pick up with your cracker jaws. But Hockey is only after the moles, and so far I haven't seen a single one out here. We do have some bunnies trying to steal our berries, of course. That's no surprise. But there has to be a mole out here somewhere that we can chase. And I think this might be one of those poison berry bushes. So I guess you're going in the right direction after all, Vankir. Pretty soon you should have a brand new place to call home for your family. Now we should be all out of turns, so let's go see what Perry's next baby is going to look like. Oh, another little Persnow baby. You look quite a bit like your brother, actually. So I guess the Persnow dominates the bird beak in our genetics. Thankfully, he also inherited that lovely stinky tail. So we'll have to send one or the other, either the newest baby or Sirius, off to visit the swamplands as well, so we can see what Vankir thinks of their presence. The next name on my list is Ryuga. So welcome to our tribe, little one. We'll see what sort of shenanigans you can get into with your brother. Though pretty soon you're going to be leaving the nest, because it'll be Anara's turn to have some babies. So in the next episode, cross your fingers that we'll see our very first fully winged creatures. Then we can take to the skies, and it should be quite easy for them to explore this massive island. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!